For this year's science fair, I've got an interesting idea that I've been thinking about for a while now. Say I'm at a restaurant and I order a soup. That soup comes in and it is way too hot. You start blowing on it to cool it off. Now let's take another scenario. Say I am out in the cold. I can start to heat up my hands or I can cool off my soup using the same breath. This breath, it's the same temperature inside my lungs. And I heard an interesting theory about that. They said it's because your mouth is open. So I have a wider expanse, so the temperature that's in my lungs is pretty accurate to the temperature that's coming out. When I close my mouth more, then what I've done is I'm adding the same amount of pressure, but it's now being compressed through a smaller opening. Compressed air gets colder. All right, so I made this little piece here, and this is just the shape you would need in order to make like a funnel. So this is my hunch. I think it's a great idea. Personally, I don't think it's gonna work out too well, but let's see how this goes. All right, so regular, that's hot, or well, it's warm. That's actually colder. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is kind of cool. So that is definitely colder. Wow, that is nice and cold. Okay. Okay, so I think this might actually work. All right, so to test out this experiment, I have a cardboard box. I'm going to try to turn that into a cylinder that kind of reduces down to a smaller hole. So I'm going to show you a little trick to make this a little easier to work with. I should just be able to kind of do that with my foot. Now I can work with something a little more rounded. Oh, hey bud! Alright, so here's the experiment I've got. I want to get it as hot as it possibly can get here. And then I'm going to try my incredibly professional looking little device here. It looks like it has peaked around 48.5 degrees Celsius. All right, before anything else happens, I'm gonna try the experiment. All right, seems like it stopped at about 44.5 degrees. So now I'm gonna try with the air being compressed. All right, looks like the final temperature it got down to is 40 degrees. All right, now I'm gonna conduct the same experiment in the shade. So I've let it cool off, and it's at about 30 degrees Celsius. Dropped about 1 degree. All right, I'm gonna try putting this on, and let's see if we get a difference. I'm not seeing any difference at all. So in conclusion, it looks like I was kind of right and kind of wrong. My hypothesis was right. I think this doesn't work incredibly well, but this could work in a different system. If you have a tube that starts off very wide and then slowly gets smaller as it comes back, and then that small tube comes into the house, that it compresses the air and makes it nice and cold. Trying to build something small to go off of your fan, I don't think that's going to work too well.